There has been a lot of talk recently about Wuthering Waves and how it's a copy of Genshin. Recently, Tenha got a lot of backlash for his video criticizing Wuthering Waves for this exact same thing, but he's not the only one. There have been many comments echoing this point, and right now there is a bit of a civil war in the community about whether you're Team Genshin or Team Wuthering Waves, so I thought I'd put this issue to rest. First of all, on the point of Wuthering Waves looking very similar to Genshin, that is absolutely, without a doubt, 100% a stone cold fact. But why? There was a thread online by a user named Lumi going deep about this issue. They begin with explaining user interface and user experience and how these two things are different. For the user interface, they say that the UI design is the look and feel of a website or app, but this also applies to games too. The user design, however, determines how intuitive, efficient, and enjoyable the application is to users and is focused on the needs of the user. Lumi gives an example of hotel booking apps and how, for the most part, they are all basically the same with the same elements like search bars, filters, lists of hotels, and maps, and that without these things it would put the user at a loss because they would not be able to adapt to the new application as easily without them. Another reason why all these elements are so similar is because they have certain standards for developers and designers to produce their original application faster, so that they can focus their resources in other areas that they feel need it. What this means is you work with basic building blocks but put them together in different and creative ways to create different and more creative and more innovative things. But who sets these standards in the first place? Well, the market does. It's the products that are the most popular in the industry, and in the case of Wuthering Waves, the biggest player in the open world action RPG gacha game space is of course Genshin, and to deny that fact would be ridiculous. So Kuro Games knows that a majority of their players will be coming from there, so by following the standards that Genshin has set in terms of user interface, they get to focus on what they excel at, the user experience, i.e. action-packed, combat-focused gameplay. There was an interesting comment in the replies which said this: "Don't fix what ain't broke. Genshin has done a lot of things right and it's why it remains so popular. Wuthering Waves builds off that and makes improvements where Genshin is lacking. This is how anything and everything is supposed to be made, off the shoulders of giants." That comment was made by a ryuukusenseiyt. I don't know how you say that, but he seems like a pretty cool dude. You should probably go follow him and subscribe to his YouTube channel, if he has one. I don't know, I'm just saying. Anyway, the point is that a UI is just something that the users interact with, but what's more important is the user experience and how a game or product feels. There have been many instances where two or more things are basically the same, but the way that they feel is distinctly different and allows them to stand on their own as their own separate thing. Here's a list of a few things that are essentially knockoff copies of each other: Android and iPhone, Mac, PC, Pepsi, Coke, McDonald's, Burger King, Nissan, Toyota, PlayStation, Xbox. But screw it, let's just stick with games, shall we? Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, Pokemon, Digimon, Dota 2, League of Legends, Overwatch, Battleborn, Valorant, Apex Legends, World of Warcraft, EverQuest, Need for Speed, Burnout, Mortal Kombat, and Killer Instinct. All of these things are basically the same, but the point is, if two things exist in the same market or same genre as each other, there is inevitably going to be overlap. They are going to have plenty of similarities, but it is the differences that make them and have them stand as their own unique thing. How many differences does something need to have in order to not be considered a blatant knockoff? I'm not sure. The line for that might be different for each person, but for those that think it is a Genshin clone, let's just grant them that it is. It isn't, but let's just say for example that it is. Let's get rid of the ecosystem, sonata effects, cost limits, dodge and parry mechanics, parkour movement mechanics. Let's get rid of all of that and more and just say that it is exactly like Genshin, from the user interface right down to every character being nothing but a skin of an already existing Genshin character. So what? Is there anything wrong with that? Wuthering Waves has a completely different vibe and aesthetic to Genshin, and many people really enjoy that. What difference does it make to you that people might prefer this over Genshin? And I think I know what it is. You feel betrayed. You feel like you were cheated on. You feel like because the people who once played side by side with you in Genshin are leaving, then that must mean that Wuthering Waves took them away from you. Or maybe you feel insulted that the game that you still enjoy so much is being left for something that many people feel is better. And if they think that this game is good, then that must mean that they think that Genshin is bad, right? Wrong. I need you to know that people can enjoy two things at the same time. For example, I drink both Pepsi and Coke. I play Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. I've used both iPhone and Android. It's okay to like both. It's not a zero-sum game where for one thing to win, the other must lose. Both can exist side by side in this space because there is plenty of room out here. Now, are there going to be people out there shit-talking Genshin and acting high and mighty saying that Wuthering Waves is clearly better in every aspect? Obviously. And those people are wrong too. I've got a video with the 5 biggest things that I feel Genshin needs to change about their game, but guess what? I'm still playing it, and I will probably continue playing it even after Wuthering Waves comes out. Sure, there will be a honeymoon period where I mainly play Wuthering Waves, but that's because it's a new world with new characters and new quests and a new story for me to explore. It was like that for all of us when we first started playing Genshin too, wasn't it? I've been with Genshin basically since the beginning, so I already know everything there is to know, and now things have started getting stagnant for me. And when things get stagnant, just like a body of water, things start to fester and become toxic. Wuthering Waves is stirring things up, making things fresh, and will hopefully keep things fresh for me in Genshin in the future too. As I said before, both can exist in the same space. There is more than enough room. Genshin isn't going anywhere just because Wuthering Waves has arrived, despite all the Genshin Killer clickbait. So I think no matter which side of the issue you're on, whether it's Team Genshin, Team Wuthering Waves, or Team both, we all need to take a step back and just relax. And that's all I really want to say on the matter. So until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.